Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. It is player ratings time from Chelsea 2, Everton 0. If you haven't yet seen the 6 things we learned, which is the reactionary post-match video, be sure to go and check the link in the description. And if you also want to see the live reactions from when the goals went in or the goals were disallowed, then we have a timestamped live stream that is linked in the description down below. What a result this was from Chelsea. I mean, I've looked at... The reason I do this series is because it gives me a bit more time, because straight after the game with 6 things we learned, I'm rushing to get the video out for you lot, but then I get a chance to watch everybody else's videos who I enjoy watching. I get a chance to watch the post-match interviews. I get a chance to see more of the statistics from the game as to what Chelsea individual players did very well that we don't always necessarily get to see from the naked eye when we're watching, or when we don't have chance to watch any highlights or watch anything back. So the player ratings always give me an opportunity to not just talk about 6 things, but to give a rating from 0 to 10 for every single Chelsea player who made any appearance. Christian Pulisic is void from today because he didn't really get enough minutes. But we start off, of course, with the goalkeeper, Eduard Mendy, who probably thinks, since he signed for Chelsea, that the Premier League is a relatively easy place to be. It's now 13 clean sheets in 23 Premier League appearances. A phenomenal record for Eduard Mendy, but again, he didn't have a lot to do. That is down to the brilliant, resilient Chelsea defence that was on show yet again. For Mendy, he didn't have that many saves to make. He made a very good save down low to his left to deny Andre Gomez in the first half from Everton. And because he didn't have a lot to do, but everything he did do, he dealt with very well, we're going on the upper end of average once more for Mendy, and it is a 7 out of 10, but faultless once more from the Senegalese goalkeeper. We move into Captain Fantastic, who's been pretty much an ever-present since Thomas Tuchel took over, Cesar Azpilicueta. He was very, very solid again. I think the number one word that people seem to use, or 2 words, is consistently reliable when it comes to Azpilicueta. Thought he was very good again today, made some good tackles, was trying to make the right runs in a positive forward sense. Overall, Chelsea's defence today didn't really have that much to do, and I think that is a lot down to how we controlled and managed the game from the midfield. Alonso and Rhys James offered a lot of balance to the team, which meant that we didn't actually have to do that much defending, but what we did incredibly well, and I've given Azpilicueta a very solid 7 out of 10. We move into Andreas Christensen. So far, so good in terms of players getting the green light in the series for definitely starting the next game against Leeds. And we start with another green light for Andreas Christensen. I'm going to drop it straight in there, and I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. It was another brilliant performance. I don't think he had as much to do as he did in the game against Liverpool, so I used the parameters of the Liverpool performance was the solid, like, man of the match defensive display from Christensen. This performance against Everton, where Chelsea controlled the possession in central areas so well, didn't really allow Everton many opportunities to venture in to our final third. A 7.5, I've got to kind of tame the ratings down slightly in this series because we defend so well, and I think we've got to make it very clear in matches where we have a lot more defending to do, how and why Chelsea's defensive display was better than on a night like tonight where Everton didn't really get a sniff. And as we move into the midfielders, I think you'll see that I put a lot of that down to the performances and solid showings that we had from the people in more advanced areas. So Christensen gets a 7.5. And we move into Mr. Kurt Zuma. Was very happy to see Kurt Zuma back in the side. Not necessarily happy to see Rudiger dropped from the side because he's not really done anything to deserve being dropped. However, Zuma, I thought, had a very solid game. Thomas Tuchel put him in the side to try and combat some of the aerial issues that Everton would have likely posed. However, we restricted them to having any attempts or many corners. I think they had 1 or 2 corners in the whole game. And I thought Zuma looked decent. There was a moment where I think his leg gave way about twice, and it looked as though he wasn't going to be able to continue. And then we look over to the bench and we've got an informed Rudiger and also a fully fit Thiago Silva ready to come on. The strength in depth in this Chelsea team is incredibly obvious right now. And Zuma comes in. We saw Tuchel make changes today in order to rest a few players, to give some players some minutes. Zuma did very well. He comes back in and he gets a 7 out of 10. I thought Christensen centrally was the #1 defender once again in a Chelsea Blues shirt. We move forward to Reese James, who I thought looked very good again today. Reese James, the thing I love that Reese does is the way he chests the ball down and just kills it dead and then drives forward. There were times in the first half where Reese was playing with a lot of confidence, where he made driving runs towards the Everton defence, burst past Luca Digne, used his pace to great advantage, got shots away, got corners out of it. I thought Reese James was very good, and I think he was a lot more influential today in the way that he really did use that width. But at the same time, it wasn't just predictable runs down the byline. He was making these cut-in incisive runs forward through the middle areas in order to get Chelsea in more progressive positions, but to also catch Everton out a little bit, where they're expecting him to go wide and then put in a cross, and then all of a sudden, he goes centrally and either gets a shot away or makes an incisive through ball. Thought it was very good from Reese James, and he got himself a 7 out of 10. We move into Marcos Alonso, who, if you saw the 6 Things We Learnt video, you guys will see that I gave a lot of praise to Marcos Alonso. And I think Alonso was absolutely key in Chelsea's progression into the final third. I think we had a lot more, although Reece James did very well, I think we were a lot more effective down the left side in this one, because I think Callum, Hudson, Odoi linked up very nicely with Marcos Alonso. We saw it happen for the first goal, the Godfrey Own goal, or the flipping Havertz goal that we're giving it to. I thought Alonso was brilliant. Got into shooting areas very often. And even though it's like he's a wing back, it's almost as if, because Chelsea is so good right now, he's more of a left winger than a left back. And I think Alonso in attacking areas was very useful. I gave him an 8 out of 10. I was incredibly impressed with how he comes back into the team. You can see again why and how Thomas Tuchel backs him in these attacking areas. And the fact that we're seeing with all of these Tuchel selections that we have multiple talented players in every single position to suit different roles and against different opponents. It is a very exciting time with the current depth in this Chelsea squad. Alonso gets himself an 8, and we move into the player who gets the second highest rating today, Jorginho. I've given Jorginho an 8.5, and for the game against Leeds, I actually think Jorginho should start this game. It's such a tough one because Kovacich was brilliant again today as well. N'Golo Kante, absolutely brilliant footballer, and he obviously was rested tonight, which probably means Thomas Tuchel has him within his plans for the game against Leeds United at the weekend at Ellen Road. But I thought Jorginho was brilliant. Jorginho's a very Marmite player, which is definitely not my phrase. It was from Son of Chelsea. He said that on Twitter. But I totally agree. You know, you either love him or you hate him. And slowly but surely, I'm beginning to absolutely love Jorginho. Not that I ever hated him. I respected what he does and how he is as a footballer, but I just didn't think it fit the Chelsea system that I was used to. Whereas now, under Thomas Tuchel, it really does fit the system that we're trying to play. I thought Jorginho dictated the tempo of the game today incredibly well, was trying to play forward passes, incisive passes at any given opportunity. I think the ball that he played towards Havertz that won the penalty that he then converted was exceptional, and it wasn't the only time he attempted it. So for that reason, Jorginho gets an 8.5. I thought today he was absolutely brilliant. And we move into talking about Mateo Kovacich, who, once again, I thought he was fantastic. I've given him a yellow because I don't know if he's going to start the game against Leeds, but I think Jorginho will start instead. Or, I don't know, I'm changing my mind here. This is the nature of this series. Maybe Kovacic's ball progression and harder tackling could be more useful against this Leeds side, so then maybe Jorginho misses out. I don't know. I've given Kovacic a yellow, and I'm probably going to say that means Jorginho gets a yellow light as well. But I thought Kovacic was brilliant again today. He came off for N'Golo Kante with about 10 minutes to go. And again, it's just a prime example of how this Chelsea team has so much strength in depth that in those central midfield areas where we've got two players currently playing in this double six, we've got Kante, Jorginho, Kovacich. Kovacich came in today and I thought he was excellent. You know, there were times where he was dribbling out of tight defensive areas for Chelsea, progressing the ball incredibly well, looking very assured. And I really liked the way that he always made himself available for that second pass today. Jorginho was very aware of all of the different movements that Kovacich made. Kovacich was linking up well with Alonso, very well with Hudson and Odoi. And overall, I thought Mateo Kovacich had a brilliant game. And when he came off, I was very impressed. Gave him a lot of respect on the live stream. It's an 8 out of 10 for Kova again. Another brilliant, solid display. We move into Callum, Hudson, Odoi, who I thought was the game changer at the beginning of the second half for Chelsea. He had a couple of good opportunities, very well saved from Jordan Pickford. He was growing in confidence as the game went on. And I was actually quite surprised, even though I'm not questioning any of the decisions that Tuchel made, I was quite surprised when Callum Hudson-Odoi came off when he did. Mason Mount obviously came on and even increased that injection of energy that Callum brought. But in the minutes that Callum Hudson-Odoi had, I've given him a 7.5 out of 10. I'm not sure if he's going to start the next game because I think Mason Mount will come back into the starting 11 for the match against Leeds. So I've given Callum Hudson-Odoi a yellow light, not because I don't think he was good enough to play in the game against Leeds. I thought he did very well today. I gave him a box in 6 things we learned, but I do think he'll drop out to make way for Mason Mount's return to the squad. Very impressed with Callum. Could have got himself a goal today, didn't do so, but definitely offered a lot for the team. Was dropping deeper as well to show for the ball when Kovacic or Jorginho were looking to progress. Was very impressed with Callum Hudson-Odoi. We move into the man of the moment. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. Kai Havertz, the German maestro, delivered in a blue shirt for Chelsea. Man of the match performance. Scored what I think was a thoroughly legitimate goal that was ruled out. I thought it hit his shoulder. Watched many angles, watched the replays back again. You can argue that it's like borderline shoulder bicep area, but again, it's just one of these where we could spend the whole flipping 90 minutes discussing whether it's a goal or not, and then we miss the fact that it was actually beautiful ball, beautiful control, great finish from Kai Havertz. Not only that, the first goal that's going down is a Ben Godfrey Own goal. Unfortunately, Havertz's run and getting into that position in the first place made that goal happen for Chelsea, and then he wins the penalty, coming down under a foul from Jordan Pickford. I thought Havertz's all-round play was brilliant today. I've given him a 9 out of 10, and you guys know that I've been picking him game by game in my starting 11 in my lineup predictions, but he's not been being picked. And then today, in the post-match interview, Tuchel came out and said how impressed he was with Havertz. So for that reason, I think he's got to start the game against Leeds. I thought he did very well. He didn't come off. He played the full 90 and looked brilliant. I was very disappointed that statistically, and when the history books look back on Chelsea's win against Everton today, there was no goal for Kai Havertz, but he thoroughly deserved it. His movement on the ball was great. His movement off the ball was great. Won the penalty, scored a goal that got disallowed, and pretty much scored the first one. It was an all-round brilliant display from the German. And then we move into Timo Verna. And when I was watching the game, I wasn't that critical of Verna because I thought he actually played well. I liked the off-the-ball runs. I liked the link-up in the first half with Kai Havertz, which is something we've been, I'm going to sneeze. Damn. Something we've been asking for and calling for now for quite some time. When I watched the highlights back, Verna should have at least scored one in this game today. I thought finishing wise again, it was a little worrying from Timo. He's got to be burying those and doing a bit better in some of those one-on-ones. But his all-round play I thought was good. He was trying very hard again. But he needs to start converting some of these chances. You know, if Tammy Abraham can't even make it into the squad, then I think Timo Verna needs to be converting some of these chances that he's getting. We've gone in the past week from not being able to create any chances to creating a lot of chances today. And I think Timo should have done better. But it's a 6.5 out of 10. We move into the two substitutions that at least got 5 minutes of football. Mason Mount came on for the remaining 25 minutes for Callum Hudson-Odoi. And again, I thought his injection of energy made Chelsea even more lethal potentially lethal in the final third. I thought Mason was doing, you know, when he starts the games and then when you get to the 80th minute, he's still the player with the most energy. When he comes off the bench with 25 minutes to go, you just see how much energy this guy has, be it in the defensive sector of the pitch, progressing through the middle or into the final third. Mason Mount offered quite a lot when he came on. Could have had a goal if it wasn't for another brilliant save from Jordan Pickford. He probably actually should have been involved in at least the goal, whether he scored it or got an assist. I'm gonna give Mason Mount a 7.5. I was gonna say a 7, but I actually think he had a very good 25 minutes of football again. And we move into the final player that we're gonna speak about. Pulisic didn't really get that much time, so we won't talk about him. N'Golo Kante comes on, and again, it was just a bit of a cameo in the final 10 minutes of the game. Chelsea were already controlling proceedings. We'd already got the game won, 2-0 up, restricting Everton to pretty much no chances in the final third. 6.5 for N'Golo Kante, and it's a yellow light for Kante because I don't know who's going to play out of that midfield three. Jorginho, Kovacich, Kante. If I had to make a rational guess based off of the way that Leeds play, I think Kante would probably be a green light for this one. I think we're going to need his energy, need his industry, and Leeds can be a very dangerous side when on the attack. So I think we're going to need somebody like N'Golo Kante in this team. I hope you guys enjoyed the player ratings today. It was a brilliant performance from Chelsea, one of my personal favourite results that we've had this season. I think it's probably the best performance under Tuchel, the most well-rounded. We created a lot more chances today. It could have been 4 or 5 if it wasn't for a great performance from Pickford, so shout out to him. He gets a 9 out of 10, the Everton goalkeeper for Everton. But we move. We have Leeds United at Ellen Road in the early kickoff on Saturday. Make sure you're signed up to GBFC Selects. Link is in the description. 18 plus, be gamble aware, terms and conditions apply. And you guys can be in with a chance of winning the free £1,000 yet again for the game against Leeds. It's very simple, 10 questions to answer, all very relative and simple to the game. You guys should go and get involved. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to GBFC if you are new. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this player ratings video. If we can hit 5,000 likes, that'd be amazing, and I will see you all later with a brand new video. Come on, you Blues.